30 essential business English phrases for beginners. Greetings, colleagues. Are you a beginner in the world of business English? Don't worry, we've got you covered. In this video, I'll teach you 30 essential phrases that every business person should know, whether greeting a client, arranging a meeting, or simply introducing yourself. These phrases will help you communicate confidently and with ease. So here are 30 beginner-level business English phrases that every business person learning English should know. Welcome to the rundown. The first two. Nice to meet you. How are you? So it's very common when you meet someone that you'll say these phrases, either both of them or at least one of them. Nice to meet you, letting them know that you're pleased to meet them. You're happy that you've met. How are you? It's asking how they are. This is often part of the greeting. Hello, how are you? Now, the person might answer, or they might just say, hey, how are you? And you just kind of move on. It's not a question that necessarily has to be answered, but certainly often it is answered. Oh, I'm doing well, thanks. How are you? What's up with you? So both of these phrases are very common in the greeting. And don't be afraid if you hear a slightly different version. Instead of how are you, maybe they say, what's up with you? What's new with you? How's it going? What's going on? There's almost unlimited variations of this phrase, but it all means the same thing. It's just asking how the other person is. And again, they might answer or they might just move on. Either way, it's fine. These next four phrases have to do with politeness. Please, thank you, excuse me, or sorry. So if you want the other person to do something, you're asking a favor or asking them for information, even if you're just asking them to pass the salt at the dinner table, it's common that we'll say please. And if they do it, then you would say thank you. If you make a mistake, you don't want to be rude, you can say excuse me. Now we can also say excuse me if you didn't hear something. Excuse me, meaning what did you say? Excuse me, can you say that again? And soon we'll talk about other phrases that ask that type of question too. But excuse me can be used for that, or I made a mistake, oh, excuse me. Or excuse me, can you move so I can get to my seat? I can't get by you. Anything like that is fine, or excuse me. There's lots of uses for the phrase excuse me. And of course we can say sorry if we made a mistake, or we think we're bothering the other person, then we can say sorry. And the next three phrases have to do with asking permission or asking a favor, asking for something. May I? Could you? Would you? So may I is asking like, do I have permission? Might I do this? Could I do this? Would I do this? Or may I? May I do this? Whatever it is. Could you or would you? The modals can be kind of tricky. I have a longer lesson in that in my Elemental Business English course, but I don't think I have a video on that on the rundown yet. But if you do want to learn more about it, check out Elemental Business English, where I go into more detail about how we use the different modals, how they are similar, but how we might use them differently as well. But for our purposes today, could you and would you are pretty much synonyms. We're asking them, would you do this? Could you do this? And both are polite ways to ask. The next three phrases we might use when we don't understand something or we didn't hear something. We'd already talked about excuse me, and we can say that in this context, but here are three other phrases we might use. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Or, can you repeat that, please? Or, could you speak a little slower, please? And notice how we tend to be polite in English. All three of these phrases have either sorry or please in them. Now, if you're very close with the person or you're saying this a lot, you might leave off the please or leave out the sorry and just say, I didn't catch that. Can you repeat that? Could you speak a little slower? But certainly the first time, I would definitely include the please or the sorry. But if you're at a very formal meeting, then I would certainly keep it on. These next phrases have to do with maybe meeting someone and starting the conversation. What's your name? That's probably one of the first phrases you learned in English, but it can be a very useful phrase. Where are you from? And when we ask someone where they are from, in general English, we probably mean geography. What country are they from, or what city are they from, that sort of thing. But in the business context, we might mean what company are they from? Where do they work? What do you do? What is your job? What kind of work do you do? What profession are you in? And an answer to that might be, I work in sales, I work in accounting, I work in a law firm. Whatever business that you are in, you might answer. A follow-up question, how long have you been working in accounting or sales? Or how long have you been working for the company name? I'm here on business. This might come up in a conversation. Oh, are you here for business or pleasure? Is this a vacation trip or a business trip? I'm here on business. The next three phrases are relevant to meetings. The first, let's arrange a meeting. Maybe you're meeting someone quickly. You want to talk to them a little bit further, get in more detail, and you need more time for that. So, hey, let's arrange a meeting, a time to meet. If it's a formal meeting, you might say, what's the agenda for the meeting? The agenda are the items that we're going to discuss or the decisions we need to make at the meeting. If it's a very formal meeting, then there should be a meeting agenda. If it's an informal meeting, there may not be, but whoever's running the meeting might have a few bullet points that they're going to share with you anyway. So what's the meeting agenda? What are we going to discuss in this meeting? If you've got something you want to add to the meeting, then you could say this, I'd like to discuss X, whatever you want to bring up. I'd like to discuss this problem we have in accounting. I'd like to discuss our future plans. I'd like to discuss hiring a new secretary, whatever the issue is. This next group of phrases has to do maybe with the end of a meeting or the end of a conversation. Do you have any questions? So often after discussing something, or especially if you're presenting something, it's very common at the end asking the audience or asking the other person, do you have any questions? Or can I help you with anything else? Maybe you're meeting a client, potential client, you've answered a few questions, you want to see if there's anything else that you can help with. Could you send me an email with more information? Maybe you're the potential client. Somebody has been telling you about something, explaining something. You want more information, but you don't have time to talk about it now. Or maybe you just want to get out of the conversation. So you might say this, send me an email with more information. I'll get back to you soon. Maybe you're the one that needs to make a decision, or they're the one that needs to make a decision, but this is telling them, I'll contact you. I'll get back to you soon. I'll reach out to you soon. I'll talk to you soon. Or at the end of the meeting, end of the conversation, it was nice talking to you. Or we might say, have a good day, and of course, goodbye. If we're writing email, then often we'll say best regards or sincerely. Now there are other email closings, but these are probably two of the most common ones. If you want to know more about email writing, check out my course, Business Email Writing, or watch this next video, which talks about email writing. But before you go, conquer that like button and make it ours. Work hard today and enjoy tomorrow.